Yo, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. This is Sane. Today we're going to talk about a Pokemon Unite tier list. This is going to be the competitive meta. I've done a couple other tier lists, like the lane tier list, jungling tier list. I'm going to do I'll probably do a solo queue tier list after this too, but this is going to be strictly competitive. This is 5 stack. You're going in tournaments. Right now the meta is 1-1-3, although things will change because Hoopa is now in the game, and I will be ranking Hoopa already. I think we already know very well how good Hoopa is. So, like, if anything, this character is going to get stronger. So, here we've got the tiers. S is going to be meta. I'm just going to just meta outright. Like, these are the characters that you use in the meta. A tier is going to be alternate. These are characters who work in the meta. They fit well, but they're not going to be as like commonly used as the other ones. B tier is going to be good but not meta, or maybe no current place in the meta. These are good Pokemon that have maybe been meta before, that are close to being meta, but just kind of don't really have a spot in current meta, you know? So I kind of like that spot for them. The C tier is going to be needs help. Pokemon that are really not even close. Like, B tier I think are like good Pokemon. C tier is going to be Pokemon that are just like not as good anymore. Like, they really just need some help to get anywhere close to being, you know, anywhere close to meta relevant. And then the D tier is just going to be bad. These are going to be the bad Pokemon. These Pokemon are nowhere near meta relevance. They're also just not good in the game currently. And yeah, let's go. Probably only be like 2 or 3 Pokemon down here. So let's just get into it. I'm just going to go through in this order how it is laid out here, ending off with Hoopa. Venusaur is super meta, probably the best Pokemon right now, if not Hoopa. Venusaur, Giga Drain, Petal Dance is the build. You're so tanky, you're unkillable, your team fight capability is ridiculous. Solar Beam and Sludge Bomb is still a good build too, and can work in a couple different comps, and a little bit better than solo queue. But Giga Drain and Petal Dance is just so strong. It's so hard to kill Venusaur. Like, right now, as someone who's on a team, as a top laner playing like Lucario and Champ, I'm trying to figure out how I can build my moveset to counter Venusaur just because of how strong it is. It's super good. Right on the other end of the tier list, Gengar is really bad right now. It just doesn't have it doesn't do anything that another Pokemon does better. Like, its dive potential and one-shot potential is nowhere near as strong as Talonflame, who also has, you know, high movement speed so it can get away, better moves, team fight potential, better early game. Yeah, it's not very good. It's pretty bad early game. It's not good until it turns into Gengar. Even when it turns into Haunter, like, it's mid-game, it's just like, you know, it's not that strong. So not a very good Pokemon at all. Has to be in jungle. And it's just so outclassed in the jungle role. Right now, Mime has no current place in the meta. I've seen it on a couple European teams, but there's just better tanks right now. Slowsmell kind of does everything that Mime would want to do, which is like stopping people in their place. He's bulky, but he doesn't give, you know, any extra CC, I guess. He does do a lot of damage, and that's the one, you know, upside of Mime. But right now, there's just like, everyone in your team does so much damage that you don't need your tank to do damage. You just need your tank to live for a very long time or give some other sustain. So it's just kind of outshined right now. Very solid Pokemon. Snorlax is the same thing. It's just there's no real place for Snorlax right now. It's just a ranged defender is better, or better Unite moves. Its Unite move really kind of puts it down right now. It's just not really doing anything. You kind of just sit in one spot and block. Like, that's kind of it, you know. You're not giving massive shields to your team. You're not making them, you know, indestructible. You're not grabbing someone specifically. It's just kind of not, you know, not there on tank wise. Alternate meta pick is right now is Gardevoir, and Gardevoir could actually be moving up to the S tier. We're starting to see more and more of her in the jungle role. Venusaur is a Pokemon who's mainly in the bot lane but can also jungle. Gardevoir is only in jungle right now. I think there's maybe a potential for it to be in bottom lane, but not really. It's mostly in the jungle. Future Sight, Psychic is a really strong build. Psyshock, Moonblast is also really strong. The Unite move is amazing for team fights. I think this Pokemon is the single best counter to Hoopa. and I'll talk about that a little bit later when we talk about Hoopa. So I could definitely see a Gardevoir going up to meta, but right now I think I'm just gonna keep it in the alternate, just because there's just more jungle picks that are outright better currently. Absol is also in no current place in the meta. It's a really strong early game jungle. It has a decent lane. I've seen it in like a Japanese 2-1-2 meta too, which is pretty interesting. And lane, it's just outclassed jungle wise because it doesn't have the team fight potential that others do. It's got amazing one-shot and dive potential though, so I definitely could see it, in certain metas. Maybe if, the meta really turns into just one-shotting that Hoopa and hunting it down as much as you can, I could see Absol being rising up to like an alternate position. But currently it's in no place. I'm going to keep it probably behind the tanks, just because it's contesting so much for the jungle role. Garchomp fits itself barely in the alternate category, just because we are seeing it a couple times. In the jungle rule, I'd say it's probably the lowest on this A tier. Like Gardevoir is kind of bouncing between A and S. Garchomp is bouncing between A and B. Maybe I'll make a tier here to kind of show that. Maybe I'll make a second tier or whatever. But yeah, Garchomp still just gets kited too much in its early game. Is not great. It has to be in the jungle, and just some ranged characters in jungle, or characters that have just more range or more burst, are a little bit better than he is right now. But he's great at 1v5 and great at big T fights. Very, very strong character once he gets going. Lucario, absolutely S tier meta, ruling the top lane. Has some contestants now for top lane, but still just the best. All four of its moves are good. Unite move is fine for what it does. A lot of different things you can do with items. Stacking build is the way to go. It's super strong. It's a great lane bully. It's great late game. Yeah, it's Lucario. Crustle needs some help. Crustle is seen as a gimmick, and maybe I want to put C tier as a gimmick tier. I almost want to make a gimmick tier. I think I will. I think I'll leave C tier as a gimmick for now, and if I need to add another tier, I'll add it. Gimmick. Crustle is a gimmick on score comp teams, and that is its only use right now. Other than that, it's just a bad defender. It's like sometimes seen in jungle, which is dumb because you're taking away from way better junglers. Crustle just needs something. I think he needs a rework, or his abilities to be really strong for him to be able to do what he does. It's just in a really awkward spot. Greninja though, super high meta jungler, really strong. Water Shuriken is a good move on its own. You're probably going Surf, but both moves are really good. High crit rate, really great. Assassin potential. Smoke Screen's a really good move. You usually see double team with Water Shuriken, but I've been running Smoke Screen Water Shuriken more, and I've really liked it. Unite move's great. The execute with its boosted auto when close range is really strong. Yeah, really strong fighting character. Great jungler. What else is there to say? Another great jungler, Talonflame, is the best speedster right now. It's amazing in jungle. It's great for diving the back lane. It's great for securing objectives. I think it's going to be really nice against Hoopa, just like Gardevoir is. I think Brave Bird and Fly are going to be great answers to Hoopa, just dropping that big AoE damage burst, hunting down that Hoopa, trying to kill it so they don't have their Hoopa alive. Really strong jungler right now. Super high damage, does so much health, which is like a Brave Bird or a Fly. Charizard is in the alternate, a little bit higher than Garchomp, but I'd say a little bit lower than Gardevoir. Charizard's really strong. You have so much mobility because you never have to stop moving when you use your moves, and Flamethrower gives you movement speed increase. Fire Blast is great for a slow. Unite move is great to just pick off one person and engage and dive back line. You're really tanky. Yeah, super strong Pokemon. Great jungler. Zeraora has no place, and I don't want to say it's bad, but I do think it's definitely worse than Absol, so I want to move Absol away. I think Absol's probably the highest in this B tier, I think. Maybe Absol and Mime are the highest. You could maybe see them in something. I have seen them in some comps, but they're kind of like weird. But they're not gimmicks. These two, yeah. Zeraora, good lane potential. You know, if in a comp where if we saw a tournament that had bans, You can see Zeraora maybe replacing a Lucario in the top lane, but there's still just other top laners like Machamp and like Blastoise and Greedence that use, and even like Aegislash that would take its spot more than it would be. So it's kind of in a rough spot. I don't want to put it bad because it's not a bad Pokemon. Wild Charge Spark is good. Discharge, Volt Switch is also still good moves. Unite move is very strong. It just comes on too late. That's the issue. It's fine early game, but then it kind of hits this point where it's like, okay, I'm still with all of my moves. I still don't have my Unite move while everyone else has my Unite move. And you don't want to put it in jungle because there's just better junglers, and it's like its lane is good. So it's in a really awkward spot that I get to put it in the B tier. It's a solid Pokemon, but it's not super strong. Like Absol is just outright stronger than it is, I'm gonna say. Cinderace rules the jungle. This thing is the strongest team fight Pokemon in the game. It's super strong. It's super good. I might put it right below Venusaur just because I think Venusaur is so crazy. There's other options for jungle. I don't know. Maybe I'll put all the jungler. Maybe I'll just kind of group things together by their lane. So like the junglers, the bot lane, and then top lane. Yeah, Cinderace is super strong. It's a little bit better than Greninja. It's just the best team fighter. You do so much damage. All the auto attacks. You get the boosted with your move combos by doing move, which then gives you next boosted, and you do move, and you boost it again. You're just shredding people down like crazy, doing so much damage. Super strong. And then its Unite move is really good for just securing objectives. That's kind of how you're seeing it played the most right now, is that they get their level 9 for the Dreadnought fight, and they just use their Unite move just to secure Dreadnought, just to make sure that they get Dreadnought, and that is theirs. Great for Zapdos stealing too. Very good. Eldegoss is okay. Eldegoss is going to be a very big change coming up because of Hoopa. Currently, or in the meta post or pre-Hoopa, Eldegoss has been the #1 support. You're always running an Eldegoss in the bot lane, like always. You never really see it on a good team comp where it's not there. But because Hoopa's in play now, we might see Eldegoss get replaced as like the healer type support. But we're still gonna see it. I think we're still gonna see it in comps just because it is so good on its own. Like could be paired with the Hoopa. You drop maybe you drop the tank. So yeah, it's hard to say what we're gonna do with Eldegoss, but I think it's still so good that even though it might be, I think it used to be like absolute S tier, like you see it on every team, kind of S tier, like probably the best Pokemon, just because it's on every team, to now lower in S tier where it's still super good, but you're not gonna see it everywhere. So I'm gonna still leave it in the S tier. Cramorant, it's either no current place or bad. I don't know if I want to separate no current place because I know I'm just talking about the meta, but there are some Pokemon that are just like clearly better. So maybe I will make another tier here. I think I will. I think I'm gonna make just another tier here real quick. Make bad. That. I'll put Gimmick above it actually. So this is gonna be F tier. Or it's going to be G tier for Gengar because it's funny. This is going to be D tier. Which I'm going to say missing a lot. Let's go ahead and say missing a lot. And that's going to be these guys here. Make it blue. Yeah, Cramorant. Unite move's really weak. It's got a really good early game, but in a 1-1-3 meta, it doesn't have a spot when there's Venusaur, when there's Pikachu. Even like a Sylveon has a higher... There's just other attackers that are just better. And even if you're doing a 2-1-2, like it's good, but there's better like gimmick lanes there, and you still probably just want to run like Pikachu. It's so overshadowed by like Pikachu right now. It's crazy. I think it's still good. Has some potential. Its Unite move is just not good anymore. It's really not scary at all. It's just not strong enough that you just leave. Or you just go dive it and kill it. Because like whatever. Yeah. Cramorant's missing a lot. Could use some help. Blastoise is no current place, but I think yeah, it's no current place. It could be an alternate, but that's probably just my own personal bias because I love Blastoise a lot. It is more of a top laner or even a jungler than a bot laner. If the meta does go back to 2-1-2, then maybe we could see it just because of its damage output. It's like Mime. It's a tank with high damage output, or it's also more of like an all-rounder. But there's just either you want a tankier tank, a bulkier tank that has more sustain, and even more CC. Like I feel like when you do see Blastoise, I was gonna say when you do see Blastoise, you see Surf, but you don't. It's kind of either. Yeah, Blastoise is it's a super strong Pokemon, but right now in the meta, there's just not really a spot for it. That's just the way it is. There's just not a spot for it. Pikachu though, S tier, absolutely S tier. Super dominant lane. It's really good early game. It still holds out late game because it's super strong Unite so often. It's not as good as Venusaur, but sometimes you'll see Venusaur go into jungle and then you have Pikachu bot lane. Sometimes you just see comps not run the Venusaur and you see them run Pikachu, just because Pikachu's so strong. It's super strong. Like it doesn't really matter that Venusaur's so good because Pikachu's also so good. These two are just they're so strong. Whether it's 1-1-3, 2-1-2, it could even go top lane and counter like a Lucario. It's not like a good strategy, but it's something it could do just because it's so strong. Clefable's not in the game. Why is Clefable here? Ignore that. I don't know why it's on this list. Can I delete it? Ninetales, I'm going to put it in the gimmick tier. There is a freeze lane, and I'm going to put Mamoswine here too, because this is the gimmick. The 2-1-2 freeze lane, these two make a very good lane. It's called freeze lane for a reason. There's so much CC, you don't move. They can hold their own against a 1-1-3. There's a very, very strong 2-1-2 lane. Neither of them are really great. They're both really, really good early game. Neither of them are super great late game because of their Unite moves. Mamoswine's a great tank. It's a great bulky tank with a lot of CC. Ninetales, the burst build is a little bit better right now, but its late game is just not really there. And Ninetales is the worst Pikachu, and Mamoswine is same story as Mime, same story as Blastoise. It's just kind of not really a place for them. Wigglytuff, however, is a very good tank. And I don't know if I want to put it S tier, because I don't love flooding the S tier, but it's like these are the very common meta picks, and then the A tier is alternates. It's kind of an alternate, but it's also not, because it's like one of the two tanks you'll see, or one of the three tanks you'll see. And you see it more often than one of the three, so I will put it in the S tier. Yeah, super great tank. Sing or Rollout both are good. Dazzling Gleam, all of its moves are good. The Unite move gives you so much shield, so much health, and shields in this game are broken. Shields are like so much more health than just like normal health bar is. Like I feel like if you get a shield, even if it's a small shield, it's just so hard to break that. You just absorb so much damage. But they're so strong in this game, and the amount of shields you get with Wigglytuff is crazy. You see it in score comps, you see it in just normal comps. Yeah, it's super, super strong. Slowbro is the other tank. You're seeing it a little bit more, just for the CC and the range. That's mainly the thing, just having all three of your bot laners in the tri-lane all have range, and the water gun for secure is super solid. Surf, really, 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 really strong. I've seen Amnesia and Telekinesis, both builds, and you're running with a potion just so you never, ever die. This thing never dies. It takes so long. This thing's health bar is way bigger than like Dreadnought. Like I can solo a Dreadnought. I can kill a Dreadnought in like 10 seconds. Like I'm a champ. It's taken me like 15 seconds to kill a Slowbro who's just walking away from me, and then it CCs me and it heals itself. And with Amnesia, it's so annoying. It's so annoying to fight. It's so tanky. And then its Unite move is great for just singling out the scary Pokemon. Your team can dive it in a big team fight. Super, super strong meta Pokemon right now. Meta tank. But Champ, I don't know if I want to put it alternate. I think I will. I think I'll put it alternate. I kind of want to keep it. I kind of want to keep the jungler separate, but I also just want Gardevoir to stay here at the top. It can jungle, but it's mostly in top lane. It is really, really strong replacement for Lucario. It's got a stronger late game just because that Unite move is so good at picking things off. I think I'm gonna put it in. I think I'm just gonna put it in the meta. I think it's. You see a little bit more Lucario, but it's like the second choice. I think you see more Machamps than Gardevoir. You see about as much Machamps and as much Lucario. You see about as many Machamps and Gardevoirs. it's, to me, Machamp and Lucario is like Slowbro and Wigglytuff. Like, you see a lot of them. You probably see a little bit more Slowbro. You see a little bit more Lucario, but Machamp and Wigglytuff are still just so strong. And then I think out of Gardevoir, you see these three jungle more than you see Gardevoir, and there's like 3 of them contesting, so that's why Gardevoir's here. But I can even put Meta. I could feel good putting Gardevoir here, but I feel better doing that. This just, yeah, I'm gonna put Machamp there. It doesn't feel good to put him down there. Super good top laner, solo top laner. Karate Chop is a great execute, great for securing your own farm. And then its team fight potential, its burst with dynamic punch and either close combat or cross chop, stacking attack weight, and your unite move at the end is just so strong. It can solo objectives. It can 1v3. Like if you just go into the team fight, you get 2 or 3 of the enemy team and your unite move. You basically kill 3 of them, and it's just like a free team fight. He's so strong. He does lose very hard to Venusaur. He cannot go 1v1 Venusaur, which is an issue. But if the team doesn't have Venusaur, you just like, if you can catch the Cinderace, he's dead. I feel like Machamp only struggles with like Venusaur and Slowbro, and that's it. Like these 2 things that just keep healing and never die. It can't burst them as hard, but like everything else is super strong. It's gonna be great, and I think its burst potential being super strong. I think the meta is shifting a lot more towards burst, especially with Hoopa. Just as you can burst and kill things as fast as possible, that's gonna be the strongest you can. Yeah, that's gonna be the strongest. So I think Charizard and Garchomp are gonna be a little bit worse because of Hoopa, and other high burst Pokemon like Gardevoir, Machamp are gonna be a little bit stronger. So I like to put Machamp in that as tier. Blissey is the alternate tank. You will see it over Wigglytuff or Slowbro. You won't see it over Eldegoss. And it's the perfect partner for Venusaur. Safeguard, and its Unite move. It's just perfect for those team fights. Safeguard to make sure it doesn't get CC'd. And Helping Hand, is also great. You run Safeguard, Helping Hand, give it more movement speed, give it more attack speed, so it's doing more autos, getting those stuns off, doing more damage, has higher movement speed. In that Unite move, the Venusaur runs in. Goes into a team fight, and then Blissey comes through here and just goes through everybody with the Unite move and just knocks them all up, does so much damage to them, gives the Venusaur shields. It's a great combo. Great secure early game in that tri-lane. You are melee like Wigglytuff, so it's kind of like you see Blissey really just to super support the Venusaur, and you might see like a Blissey with a Venusaur in the jungle. Blissey's also a great partner for these 2 auto attackers, even like Charizard or Garchomp. Just the Helping Hand on these 2, giving them faster auto attacks, or like a Machamp is super strong. And now a word from our sponsor, Odie. All right, and back to the video. Sylveon, no place in the current meta right now. It's just outclassed as a bottom laner, but it does still deal a lot of damage. Both Hyper Voice and Mystical Fire are both super strong. I could always see it in my mind. There's always something. I'm always like, I could see a Sylveon working for this comp. I really could see it working for this specific comp. But it just doesn't have the CC that Pikachu does. While they still have somewhat similar damage, Sylveon has more damage, but like less CC. And yeah, it's just slightly worse than these 2, and that's just kind of why it lands down here in like no current place. But I still think it's a super strong Pokemon. And certain comps we can maybe see it poke out, and it's not a horrible pick. Like if I saw a comp using it in the bot lane, I wouldn't be upset. I'd be like, yeah, it makes sense. Greedent is, I think I will pull it down here just because you do see it less than Lucario and Machamp, but it is counter jungler. It is great for a score comp. I need to put Gardevoir top here. I'm gonna put it above Blissey, but yeah. As a counter jungler, it is super great. It's a top laner. You do give up top lane, which means you just allow the Machamp or the Lucario to get fed, which is an issue. But then you stop the junglers, so it kind of it really depends on your team comp. I think I've seen Greedent with Gardevoir a lot. I don't know why that team is. I haven't looked into why that team is so strong. Maybe just to make Gardevoir's early game a little bit better. I'm not sure. But yeah, Greedent as a counter jungler is very strong. You go in, mess with them. You're usually running Covet, Belch, try to steal whatever buffs you can. If you can steal at least one of the buffs. In a Corpus, you set the jungler back to level 4. They chase you. If you could even get a kill on them, depending on the jungler. Like if you're jungling against like a Cinderace or Greninja, you can often get a kill against them, which is really, really cool. Especially if it's like a Ralts. Against a Talonflame, sometimes you might not, just because Talonflame's early game's a little bit better than those two. But yeah, it's super, super strong. And then you go into lane, you start stacking your attack weights for your belches to do a massive, massive damage, and you just keep that up for the rest of the game. Your end game is not as strong, but you just, as long as you can set your jungler, the enemy jungler behind as much as you can, it puts your entire team ahead. But it is subject to fail, so it's kind of a harder, riskier strategy, which is why it's not seen like all the time, but it is still good. And definitely meta relevant. Decidueye is bad. It's with Gengar as the worst. It also kind of just needs the jungle. It can lane potentially, but like even in like 1-1-3, you're not seeing Decidueye lane. No way, no way. It doesn't do a lot of damage until it has its stacks up, and its stacks don't last very long, which is criminal, I think, because someone like Cinderace and Venusaur and like other attackers hold their stacks forever, and he doesn't. I don't think Razor Leaf is the best. You have a lot of lifesteal, and Razor Leaf's lifesteal is cool, but like it's so squishy and so susceptible to just being dove that I think the only way to run this thing is with Spirit Shackle and just attack from super long range, secure from super long range. But there's just like, this is like, why would you use such a squishy Pokemon that has to attack from so far when you can use Venusaur, who goes in, does a lot of damage, never dies, and even like Venusaur's Solar Beam build is just outright better than Spirit Shackle right now. I love this Pokemon to death. It's my favorite Pokemon in the game currently. I think it's the most fun to play, but it's just nowhere near good. It's nowhere near good. I think it's one of the worst. I think these two are the two worst Pokemon in the game for sure right now. Dragonite is another alternate pick. I think I'm gonna put it. It's a comp score pick. It could be in the jungle or the bot lane. I've seen it in both. I believe in score comp you have Talonflame in the jungle, and you have Dragonite in the bot lane. I don't know if I want to keep it here or there. It's got amazing secure with Hyper Beam. Unite move is really, really strong. Dragon Dance is great. Ranged all rounder, so you got some tankiness to you. Yeah, really strong secure. It fits its niche just fine, but even not in score comp, it's still just a good Pokemon. Just that super strong Hyper Beam is nothing to scoff at. That secure is amazing. And that rotation capability with the Unite move is super, super strong. So yeah, really, really strong Pokemon. I don't know if it's better or worse than Charizard. I think I've seen it a little bit more than Charizard, so I'll put it right above. Serena is not as good right now. I don't want to put it as missing a lot because I still think it's a strong Pokemon. It's just not as strong, and it's not in, it's not keeping up with top laners anymore. It's been righteously, I'm gonna say righteously nerfed. The thing was awful to deal with when it came out. It's been righteously nerfed. It's nowhere close to as good as a top laner or even a jungler as it was before. Really no current place. But I think it's better than like these guys. I still think it's a strong Pokemon. Trevenant, however, is missing a lot. It could even be down here in the bad tier. I think it will be. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it down here in the bad tier. The ghost types are not good, except for Aegislash and Hoopa. The newest ghost types are great, but these three ghost types are really, really bad. They're just missing a lot. Trevenant just isn't. Its early game is awful. Which means there's no way you're putting it in the tri-lane. Like, no way. You can't have a bad early game tank. Like, a tank that scales late game? Why? It's dumb. It's dumb. Like, a tank that scales late game is like Blastoise, but Squirtle early on is pretty fine. And it scales and is like a super hard carry late game. Like, that makes sense. Trevenant being so bad early game, yeah, it's pretty awful. At least it does like give. It's got some cool CC with like Hornleech, Woodhammer, Curse, Pain Split are interesting moves. I don't really know the set with it. I don't think anyone really knows the set with it because it's just bad. Like, it's just bad. It doesn't tank. It's so squishy. It's like I feel like it's such a squishy It's not squishy. That's not the way to say it. It's just it's early game. You can't have a tank with such a bad early game. It doesn't work. It's bad. It needs some help right now. Aegislash, alternate. Great jungler. I think it's got potential to be in the top lane. I think the more we see from it, the more potential it's got to rise up. We haven't really seen it a lot, so I'm going to keep it at the bottom of alternate, even below Garchomp, but I think it definitely can become a jungler. It can become a top laner. It's got amazing burst, and I think, like in my own theory craft with Hoopa, I think there's more potential for it to just like burst, be based back with hyperspace hole, heal up all the way, and wait for its cooldowns, come back in, burst again. It's got amazing 1v1 potential. I think any melee 1v1 Edge just outright wins. Because it's just, you go into shield form, you get your stacks, you heal back up, and then you burst again. Strong Unite move, great secure, great execute. Yeah, strong Pokemon. It's squishy until it's not. And I think it's too hard to play for it to see, you know, great success early on. So we'll have to see, but I'm excited for it. I think this thing has a lot of potential. I think it could definitely jump up into the meta. We'll have to see. And last but not least, Hoopa. I think Hoopa changes this game forever. I think this game is not the same as it was. G for the ghost types. Bad ghost type Pokemon. But Hoopa is something else, dude. Hoopa is something else. The potential this character has, I think it's hard. There's a high skill ceiling. There's a lot of micro decisions you have to make. The moveset is absolutely hyperspace hole. Phantom Force or Shadow Ball, I think it depends on the comp. As for items, Buddy Barrier, Muscle Band for sure, and then the third item could be a Score Shield or an XP Share or a Muscle Band. Maybe Choice Specs, probably not. Maybe Energy Amp, probably not. Can't think of any other item, really. Strangely enough, I could see Assault Vest. Probably not, but just like if Gardevoir really does shoot up to be like a super hard counter to Hoopa, then sure, Assault Vest could be okay. Still probably not. It's just like it's like Focus Band, so yeah, don't take that seriously. It's like the most like left field idea in my brain, but the item sucks, so whatever. Hyperspace Hole. Hoopa essentially flips 2-1-2 or 1-1-3 meta on its head. Instead of having any of those comps, I think the new comp is now you have one in top lane, you have one in the jungle, you have two in the bottom lane, and then you have the Hoopa, which either Hoopa itself roams when it gets hyperspace hole. I think it stays bottom in the tri lane just to get its level 5. And as soon as it gets level 5, or maybe it goes top to level 5, I don't know. As soon as it gets level 5, it then can roam to either lane, or it can send somebody else to roam to either lane. So you'll have basically 1-1-2 roam. So 1-1-2-1 in my opinion. Is you get hyperspace hole, you can put it on the goals and just have somebody roam. So say there's the top lane's getting ganked by the jungler. The jungler goes up, and then you send your bottom lane attacker, or you send your bottom lane tank. You send your bottom lane Wigglytuff to go up, help them, and now top lane has 3 Pokemon, and you have the Hoopa and the other one. Oh, there's now the tri lane bottom is, so now you have the 3v2 up top. Oh, now the tri lane bottom is really pushing hard. Put a ring on the goal, or put a loop, a portal. I'm just gonna call it portal. You put a portal on the goal, you send somebody down, maybe the jungler comes down, and the jungler comes down, the tank comes back down, and then you have suddenly 4, maybe even the top laner comes down, and suddenly you have 4 or 5 people now in the bottom lane and just completely ganking that. And then, oh, they're trying to score up top, you send the jungler and the top laner back up top to then kill them. It's crazy. And then whenever you have a lead with this Pokemon, it's basically over. If you have a lead and you have a Hoopa on your team, it's basically over. Because you're just going to send the entire team to Dreadnought, and then you're going to send the entire team to Rotom, and no matter what, especially when Hoopa has its Unite move, your entire team is always there. Wherever the Hoopa is, the entire team is basically there. If you have a Hoopa with Unite move, you just Unite, the entire team shows up, and then you've got an entire team who's got a lead, who's winning the team fights. They're taking Dreadnought. They're scaling their team fights even more. They go back up, they take Rotom, they push your tower. They're just going to 5-man push your tower, because why not? They can even leave like one tank bottom to watch bottom. If they, as soon as they see all 5, the Hoopa ults, the tank shows up, and the Hoopa's now doing crazy damage, because that Unite move does crazy damage, and it does a lot of CC, and it has Secure, and it is crazy, and is, oh my lord, this Pokemon. The funny thing is, even not running Hyperspace Hole, I still think Trick is an S tier meta comp Pokemon. I think Trick with its Unite move, and also not to mention you're just stealing berries, which makes them heal slower, which then gives you advantage for you to push your lane faster. Ha ha ha, it's great. But yeah, even without Hyperspace Hole, even just Trick is such a good. I think Trick on its own replaces Eldegoss as the main shield Pokemon, because you can just give your team shields. You can just give your team. You don't give the whole team shields. You give one person shield, but like you give your attacker shields, and then you're also doing more damage because you've Trick, so you're throwing your Shadow Ball twice at them, or you're auto attacking twice at them. You're doing more burst damage with that. It's crazy. So Trick on its own, and solo queue Trick's gonna be the better way to go, until people figure out how to work with the Hoopa. But yeah, even though Trick is a good move, Hyperspace Hole just flips everything on its head. The meta is going to change forever. This Pokemon is guaranteed on every team. Score comp, every team. Hoopa is going to be on every team. If you don't see a Hoopa on a team, they are 1, trolling, 2, don't know how to deal with it, 3, it's banned. It must be banned at tournaments. And with Hoopa's inclusion, I really actually hope that we see bans in tournaments. I think it'd be nice to see Hoopa get banned. I think it'd be cool to see Hoopa get banned. Even if it's like in a set, you can't ban the same Pokemon twice in a row. So game 1, there's no Hoopa, but game 2 there is. But then you ban Eldegoss or you ban Lucario. I think we definitely have the roster for bans. I mean, look how many Pokemon we got here. And how many Pokemon are all like relevant too. Just to separate things here, I'm gonna put this here, this little gap to show you the meta relevant Pokemon right now currently. We have half the game is meta relevant, so we got plenty of room for some bans. Anyways, I know this video's gone on long. Anyways, Hoopa is crazy. I'm excited to see what Hoopa does. I think it's a cool sport. It's cool, some broken Pokemon, but yeah. That's going to do it for the video, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you all next time. Peace.